We are just so thrilled to welcome you to the second original performance of Postmark La Follette's Theater Arm. I don't think sometimes we realize, those of us who live here, how incredibly talented our own community is. And this is a wonderful way to bring together a lot of different people with a lot of different talents. And I hope you'll be able to appreciate that this evening. I do want to specifically thank our sponsors, without whom we would not be here. They are in your program, and I would really encourage you to patronize them and let them know you saw the show and you appreciate their support of us. We have a couple of announcements. We'll do the announcements first. Gentlemen, in case you missed that beautiful Cadillac porta potty outside on the way in, that's yours for intermission, okay? And ladies, you have a restroom here during intermission as well. Now, gentlemen, if you go outside, use the one that's closed. Don't use the back one because a frantic actor will bump into you. So use that one, that's yours. That's the actors and that's the ladies. Everybody good? Okay, number 2. Turn off your cell phones. Thank you. And I'll wave. Make sure they're off. Really off. 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 And off. And off. I know. It's amazing how many people today don't remember living without a cell phone. But you will. I promise. First act is about an hour. You can check your cell phone at intermission. Turn it back off. Everybody good? Okay, perfect. Okay, now, I have a few introductions I want to make this evening. I believe there's a gentleman in the house this evening whose name might sound vaguely familiar to some of you. I think his name is General Carl Wade Steiner. Another gentleman in the audience this evening whose name might be vaguely familiar to you, and we are grateful, so grateful as well for his support of our baby arts program growing here and the support of this beautiful historic building. Senator Yeager. We also have a third dignitary in the house this evening, someone to whom we here at Postmark La Follette and Mountain Voices are incredibly grateful. As I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of talent in this community. We have a lot of talent. We have 5 particular people who we relied on very heavily for the development of this show. They are local authors, published authors who graciously loaned us permission to use their work and develop many of the characters you will see on stage this evening. One of them is in the house this evening. Pat Ayers, thank you so much. And you're going to notice a special appearance of the La Follette Lawyers Club at the end of Act 1, courtesy of Pat and his work, and we really appreciate that. Okay, one more little tiny thing. We will have a silent auction in the lobby available after the show. You have the opportunity to bid on a particular item that is part of Mountain Voices and take it home to be yours. And it was developed for the show by local artists. And we hope you will consider making a bid. I'll be back at the end of the show to tell you a little bit more about that. Enjoy the show. That's enough of me. See ya.
Let's go down and come on down. who live next door. I love my aunts and my uncles and my cousins, even the boy ones, some days. I love sliding downhill on the lid of my grandma's washing machine with this new, fluffy snake. I love the days I could ride a bike, not mine, even if Uncle Clyde didn't save me from the goat. So I'd run around the house 10 times, screaming as loud as I can be. I love snuggled into bed, and Mommy and Papa snores across the room, sounding safe. I love thunderstorms and dancing with a strong, warm rain that makes me shower with my bar soap. I love cornbread and cold buttermilk instead of chicken for supper. I love the movie theater at home with popcorn and Kool-Aid and imagination. And Mommy's blue velvet bedspread on the pillows over the kitchen chairs. I love Saturday Night Cocoa Fudge and Mama yelling at the wrestling on the TV. I love the grown-ups to keep me safe, even when they're mean to each other. I love being 7, staying 7 forever, and I'm never being grown up.
All I ever wanted to be was a country doctor. I pictured colds and flu, school shots, arguments about hearing aids, strange farm accidents, and stove burns. Things I grew up with, you know. Figured I'd help ease them into the world, and their children too. Maybe even help a few ease out. So I painted mouth purple with thrush and passed brown bags to young men without any comment. Set bones, took out teeth, tonsils too, even on their baby dolls. Misery truly does love company, you know. I've seen more than I counted on at times, though, I can tell you that. Like a little girl with her arm blue and swollen from an old wringer washing machine. Or a big strong man standing with his drowned son in his arms crying, begging me to work a miracle. Stood at the graves of a mother and her infant daughter, dug and filled just days apart, and nothing I could do to help. But a country doctor is who and what I am. I'll take a chicken for payment, and count it double if you'll cook it for me. I'll trade on you coming by, mending my fence or cutting and baling my hay. Because you see, I've just been happy to have been here. And I've been grateful for every single time that my phone rang after midnight. Because you can't help if they don't call. Yeah, you can call them, but I tell you, I found out that very seldom works out too good. I've been chased by dogs and turkeys, mules and goats, and a shotgun or two. I've been blamed for things that I didn't or couldn't do. And I've been praised for things that I could never take credit for. I've never really understood how some folks thrive while others fail. I only know that I've done my best. And I'm ready to be judged for that.
Matted brown hair and tattered clothes blowing in the wind made by my hurry. I see them chasing me in the sky above. I shout, "Let me alone! I ain't harming you and I got work to do." Pockets full of candy bars, one little nibble taken out of each, the wrappers carefully replaced. Maybe I'll sell enough for sardine and cracker dinner. Nobody wants my candy, but there are plenty of pop bottles out on purchase today. Sometimes someone comes to talk to me, but mostly not. Little girl peers behind her mammal's ample skirts. "Can I give her my penny?" she asks. "No," her mammal says. "Hattie is working here. Besides, she don't need our charity." Into the house they go. Those 3-cent pop bottles left behind. As soon as they're gone, those bottles are mine. Stupid people too lazy to take back their own returns. See, I shout to the sky above. I'm earning my own way without your help. It ain't charity if I don't beg. And I ain't stealing if it's left right there. It ain't easy pride, lugging the bag growing heavy with pop bottles. Sardine and cracker dinner. Ooh, and candy for dessert. Underneath, starry night sky. There are worse ways to live. Worse ways to live. Worse ways to live.
I always knew they were coming long before the headlights would wobble up that almost road. It was always at night when someone else could bring them. They didn't have any cars, no money, well, no options, or I never would have seen them. I knew what they called me and why, although that made no difference. My daddy said it would be like this, and he was always right. God knows I didn't ask to be the seventh son of a seventh son. As a child, I dreamed of a garden and life beyond the mountain. But I learned that wasn't possible long before it had a chance to be anything more than a dream. And I learned other things too. Strange things. Things that I couldn't explain. Things that I couldn't forget. Things that brought them in the middle of the night. They'd peer at me, frightened by the shack, the darkness, the solitary clearing. But they'd come. Despite their fear and judgment of my size, my clothes, my uncut hair, well, the healing part was easy. What I hated was the aftertime. See, I learned to dismiss them quietly and turn my back and wait for them to leave. What else did they want? See, the healing, that was theirs to take simply because they needed it. But the judgment, that was theirs to give. It couldn't be taken back. Be careful, or you'll have to live with knowing you hurt the one who saved you.
I loved her. I loved her from the first minute I laid eyes on her. I know she'd been married before, against her will, to a man that was older than her father. I know that she divorced him, and they ended up with nothing for their trouble. Her parents was poor. They thought they'd done well by her. I gave her a bunch of kids, roof over her head, clothes on her back, food on the table. I was a good man and a fine husband. I know she disapproved of my drinking and the beer joints, and she thought gambling was the lowest of the low. But man got to do something with his time after he's retired. Hanging around a house full of clucking women and noisy children could not be the full measure of his days. So I went when I chose, then come home to pay the piper. Well, I'm not going to be managed either. And then I hit the wheel and come on the shore with my pockets stuffed full and a drunken grin on my face. I just put that money on the table, just waited. Imagine my surprise when she took that money and folded it all neat and nice together, and then tossed it in that cherry red stove. You got lucky tonight stealing that money from tired wives and starving babies. Good night, Jeb Halsey. I'm going to bed. I just watched that money burn. I decided I was glad I was too drunk to count it. It's better not to know the degree to which you're wrong.
I taught first grade for over 30 years. Now, it's a big responsibility starting them youngsters off right. Of course, it was different then. Kids came to school knowing respect, knowing how to listen, knowing how to work and play together. Oh, they could still be a handful, don't you doubt that. But a day in the corner, it took the wind out of most of them. I think I was as excited as the kids the first day every year. Scared, too, hoping that I could get it right for every last one of them. And the last day, oh, it just seemed to rush at me, welcome and dreaded both. But the days in between, those were the days I relished. So much potential, so much to learn, so much to share. Every class made me a better teacher. I don't think the students realize that. Well, I didn't when it was me in school. And I'll never forget a minor. I keep 2 books. One holds every bit of news about the way they create their lives graduations and degrees, new jobs, homes bought, marriages, children born, even obituaries. The other, well, I don't look at it as often, but I keep it up to date. It holds the ones that get off the path, destroying their lives instead of building them. I'd take every one of them back to first grade and start over if I could. No child is beyond saving. We just get tired and give up.
I love the grown-ups who keep me safe, even when they are mean to each other. I love being 7, staying 7 forever, and I'll never be grown up.
Yo nací en México. I was born in Mexico. I am the second of 4 children. We grew up in a house, 1 room, and sleep in the floor. My mother, she cooked our food in a hall. She did in the floor. My father, he left when I was 7. So I go to work in the factory sewing. We needed more money for food. At first, they pay me only 50 cents a day, but I am a good worker, and so they pay me $1 a day. I never did go to school, but a nice lady from English church, she teach me to read. When I am 14, I say to my mother, we must have a better life. I must save $3,000 for a Toyota to go to America. This is how I can provide for my family. I will make you proud, Mama. My friends say there is work. Work Americans do not want. Work I will be thankful to have because there is no work at home. When I save the money, I pay the Toyota. I know him from the small place where we live. He takes me to the next big town and put me on a bus to the city. He says somebody need me there. I was afraid. People disappear, are lost, are sold. but somebody did find me at the bus. And we hid 6 days in a warehouse. Then another coyote, he come to take us to the border. You have to go at night, on the weekend, so the drug cartel don't find you. We hide in the mountains. On the way, I passed a dead man. The animals, they eat his face. The coyote said he was not strong, so they leave him behind. I pray, por favor, Dios mío, please God, help me be strong. The coyote, he pried open the fence and we ran. We ran for our lives. We ran for a better life, and I am thinking now the worst. It is behind me. I risked so much. I leave so much behind. But I am in the promised land, Los Estados Unidos, the United States. And I come here. Oh, here is so beautiful. The mountains, the people, the music in church. And people help me. I have work. I learn English. I send money to my family, and I save money, and I hope. I hope so much. Someday, this land of the free, it will be my home. Someday here, I will be free. Someday, my family comes. I pay money, and they come not through the fence, but with the green card. Someday, we will be Americans.
I called it the Church Mall. I figured if I was going to be judged and found wanting, might as well have some fun from it along the way. Never did think religion had to be all fire and sin and preaching against things. Why, I'd sit on the porch with the rain washing the air and feel church right there. The Church Mall. Thumping inside me with every heartbeat. Never understood how folks had to be told right from wrong once a week in some hot, stuffy building when they're born knowing it. That peace of God put there in every one of us by the universe which we're a part of, telling us right from wrong within our very selves, if we can just find the quiet to listen. The Bible, especially John, I love reading John. The Bible says that God is in us and we should think like God because we're godly. We're here on this earth to serve others. And that's what I believe in the church and law.
I'm the blessed boy with crystal blue eyes and golden hair. I'm every young girl's dream and her mother's worst nightmare. See, I'm a thief with the stealth of a panther and a con man with a gentleman's charm. I'm an imposter who can smile so sincere while signing another man's name and claiming another man's wife. I love women. And I love money. But you see, I'd rather take yours than have to work for mine myself.
Hard work won't kill you, I promise. And I ought to know, I was born the sixth of 9 children and followed my path into the Brushy Mountain Mine at 14. When Margaret agreed to marry me, we knew it wasn't looking like Easy Street. But we were still hoping for children. 3 years we went without. Then I found the child and brought him home.
Some men live 2 lives. Not necessarily because they choose that, you understand? I started out with parents that just weren't, well, parents. One night I was left beside the door of a mountain church. Now I don't remember that night or anything before it either. As an adult, I came to be grateful I don't. My family were solid mountain people. Simple, honest, wise. At home we were all equal and equally loved. I belonged, born to it or not, and I was happy growing up.
We moved back to the Cumberland Mountain to make certain sure we could keep him. I went to work with Margaret's dad scrapping his bandsaw. Working right there at home, especially after 2 more children, was a blessing. I went to work, I went to church, I spent every evening home with my family, and it was good. Happy ain't having what you want, it's wanting what you have. Excuse me, the happiness of your family is the greatest gift. I wanted every part of that, and I was happy.
Then it was 1970 and I was shipped out for Vietnam. Fought in the 101st Airborne as Screaming Eagle, and I'm proud to have served. But it was a long way from Campbell County, a long way from Simple and Love, a long 2 years. Now coming home, the mountain hadn't changed, but I had. I was as out of place as that baby screaming on the church steps at night. You see, belonging is different for every man, and as necessary as air and water. You may not belong in the life you're born to, but you do belong.
I was born last, smallest, the only girl child, a mother kin to my family. They forget to take care of themselves, and so I remind them. They forget that others can't always be trusted, and so I defend them. They forget that who you are at home isn't always who the world sees. A childhood accident left me scarred with a scar that never faded. The other children called me Frankenstein, which made me quiet. When Bucky began courting, I thought maybe it was a joke, but he persisted, and I came to care for him. The wedding was a miserable affair, planned fast and undertaken even faster, but still, it was obvious that I was pregnant. After the ceremony, Papaw took me home. Bucky was too drunk to be trusted that night, or any other as it turned out. But who you are at home isn't always who the world sees. Bucky was afraid of Papaw and my brothers. He only hit me where it wouldn't show. The marriage, if you can call it that, lasted 2 years. On Glory's 2nd birthday, my brothers found me on the kitchen floor. Bucky crashed into a tree, His car bursting into flames as he tried to get away. Funeral was planned fast and undertaken even faster because Bucky's parents knew who he was at home.
I've been to lockup, been to jail and prison, and I escaped from them all. Well, I played cards with sheriffs and guards, and I never harmed one of them on my way out. They even sentenced me to Alcatraz, but the mayor of Knoxville intervened, said, "Why, he's a good boy." And I am. I'm good at cards, I'm good at cons, good with locks, real good with women. I'm good with a plan. And I'm even better with an escape. I am good. Don't get me wrong, I'm grateful too. See, I learned a great deal in prison. I made a lot of real good contacts to help me advance my career. I've enjoyed the fair treatment of the law, and I've always appreciated the free legal counsel.
It does a man proud to know that he's worked for what he has and earned the right to know that it's his. There's a difference between being poor and being sorry. You might be poor, but you don't have to be sorry. The choice is yours and yours alone.
I've kept the house. My family helps with Glory when I'm working. At the shirt factory, I listen carefully to the other women. I listen for what they say and what they don't. I watch with educated eyes because who you are at home isn't always who the world sees.
Found my home and claimed it. Twice. Don't be afraid to do the same.
You know, I really am a blessed boy. After all, you made me. And I sure can't wait to get to meet you one day in person.
Now, that don't mean I can judge. Them what sees church different than me, they're entitled to make their own way to heaven, the same as I am and ye are. As long as we don't stray from the meaning of the universe, love. It's the way of the world. It's the way it's supposed to be. And so, some has a building, some has a porch or something else. And in between, we love and serve each other. It's simple, ain't it?
Shack. I make on my way to the start of my dream. I was so close. then those are money keepers. They knock at their doors and take what was a mine. It was a mine they take. I tried to tell them. I tried. But the doors are locked. No ears can hear me. The policeman tell me I cannot come back. He said, go home. Everybody's hurting. There's no money behind those doors. I did not have no home no more. So I borrow a new dream. I work hard in the tunnels again, even harder than before. And it was all working, going good. I was almost there. I have a restaurant with a good food. Bene, molto bene. But then they come up with my dream again. For close, they name it. And that's when I know how they will hear me. I did not mean to kill her. I did not mean to kill her. The widow woman. She lived upstairs and taken the laundry. She had 3 little children. No mother. That was not the plan. That was not the plan at all. But dynamite and the angry man cannot be controlled. 5 matches. I light the fuses. I smell the sulfur. I did not hear the booms. Everything finished. They hear me. And they come for me again. But I'm not there. Not calling for my dream no more. An empty shell cannot borrow a new dream. No dream. No life. An empty shell does not suffer the cancer pains that put me in a prison grave.
I worry for the small ones. Their voices go unheard as we choose for them. Children of children suffer. Their needs are not met. See the line stretching back and back. Children, born to children, raised by children, born to children, raised by children, having children with no time for childhood, no childhood but one to wish it over and behind you. How can I choose for them? How can I not? How can I get through this single day? The line stretching forward from my bench, past the courtroom door, beyond my line of sight, like justice feels today. They bring forth another case, testimony familiar. My head hurts. The cases, they consume me, they confuse me. How do I deal with the neglect? How much good or harm can one person do? I signed the order, never knowing if I've made a difference. Just trying to do God's will since man's is not met.
leave for work in the dark. Leaving little Abigail in charge. 3 kids, no man, and $8 an hour. I don't think I can make it. Time's been tough since the old man got fired for drinking on the job to forget. Things between us changed. Was it him? Was it me? I stopped going straight home, stopping by the river just to gaze and remember how it used to be. And now he's gone and we struggle on. Today, they came to take my kids. I'm guessing for leaving a 10-year-old in charge, but what choice do I have with no help? They'll take them to the old man, but he won't do no better. I want better for my kids. I really do. But I'm not sure how to show them. You best stay in school and not quit like I did. At least they'll get a good meal. I wish I'd have been to listen to Miss Evans. She was my favorite.
The policeman came to save me. I want my mom. They didn't listen. They never listened. They never asked. Don't I have say? Why does nobody ask what I know, have seen, have held in sight? Screaming brother, screaming sister to a scary father who's never listening. He never wanted us before. I don't know why now, but I know it won't last. I try to quiet the younger ones. He doesn't like it when we're loud. I try to answer the questions with only small lines. If the questions in my head are loud or still in silence. My friend Lorelai, will she still be my friend after missing her birthday party? My boyfriend Vince, will he find someone new? I wonder if we'll go to school tomorrow. I wonder if we'll sleep, stomachs growling for dinner or meal not to be had this night. That the check comes tomorrow bringing sweet relief. Or at least I hope so. The bites keep you awake till dawn. Good night sleep not to be had. Tomorrow we'll start hungry, itching without eating. They say it was suggestion this year. Why? I wish I could ask them. I miss my mom.
You may be the first in history to be lynched for playing Rocky Top in Tennessee. Where is he?
I ain't seen him, you ain't seen him?
No.
I think I hear him. There he is.
There he is. Nice of you to show up.
Well, it's good to see you boys, too.
We are the Lafayette Liars Club. Rule number 1, no mean-spirited storytelling.
Rule number 2, true stories only, no names.
Rule number 3, it's enough rules. Fellas, I heard about a moonshine family that kept their shine hid in the false bottoms of flare boxes.
I heard about a moonshine family driving shine across the bridge when the tire come off and rolling down through the bushes. Seems the sheriff wondered by it.
Uh-oh.
Kind enough to call a record.
That sheriff wasn't so kind the next time. He come hunting with a warrant. Seems like the moonshine family had hid their driver back behind the wood stove. Sheriff asked if they'd seen him. Father said, no, sir. Now, this was a good Christian moonshine family. Yeah. Little boy, 5, he knew lying was wrong. He come out and he said, I seen him, Sheriff. He's back there behind that wood stove.
People will surprise you sometimes.
Sometimes they do. I know this woman took a sickly baby to the doctor. The doctor took one look at it and said, ma'am, this child's underweight. He reached over and felt underneath her blouse. He said, ma'am, this child's not getting enough milk. She said, doctor, this child's not mine. Surprise!
I heard about a man come home after a 3-week gambling vacation.
Uh-oh.
Saw all his clothes packed up on the front porch. Asked his wife, what's going on? I'm leaving you, not taking the kids. You got that right.
I heard about an old boy that went to a funeral on a hot summer day wearing his overalls. Well, about the time the service started, he felt something buzzing up his breeches leg. He was standing square down on top of Yellow Jacket's nest. He went to jerking them breeches off right there in front of God and everybody, naked as the day he was born, and took off running right through the middle of prayer.
Never know what to say.
Exactly.
Hey, I know this woman runs a real fine restaurant. She had her son working for her one night, and he got mad and stomping around there. He knocked the fire extinguisher off the wall. It hit the floor and it started shooting everywhere. Gave them customers a whole lot more than they paid for.
Lord, hey, I knew this fella. He and his best friend had traded practical jokes with each other nearly their whole life. Well, his buddy took sick and up and died. Oh, yeah, sad. He's at the funeral home, the minister come in, and he said that the man had left some final words that he wanted him to share with the congregation. Old boy looked at him and said, "Preacher, what are they?" He said, "Everybody he owes money to needs to come and see you."
That ain't gonna work.
I'm telling you.
I knew a man that took great pride in his neat clean appearance of himself and his property.
Oh, yeah.
One day he took his double shovel plow and his clay bank mule over to clean up an adjoining neighbor's field. He didn't know about the old underground septic tank. Hit them check lines that mule pulled, and up she came. All over everything. He about died from the smell. Everybody else about died getting his mule out of the hole.
That right there is about page watch for the signs.
That's a load of crap. Speaking of signs, I was over at the lunch counter the other day, sitting next to a fella, he was cussing up a storm. The woman serving him come over and she pointed to a sign on the wall and she said, "Sir, signs don't lie. No profanity in the restaurant."
Good for her.
Yeah, well, he cussed her. She said, "I told you I didn't allow that here." He cussed her again and said, "What are you gonna do about it?" She told somebody to open the door, grabbed that fella by the seat of his britches and pitched him out the door the easiest pie. She said, "Don't you come back." He said, "Well, hell, I won't."
Listen here, I was out traveling the other day, checked in this motel. When I got in my room, there was this little bitty sign on top of the television. The sign read, "TV is electronically controlled. Do not move." I know, it made no sense to me either. Well, the next morning I went down to check out and asked that old gal about that sign. She just pointed out there on the highway that great old big sign. It said, "Free color TV." She said, "We've been losing them things right and left there since."
That reminds me, I was out on the highway the other day, saw this big bus drive by. It was loaded with everything you can think of. It had furniture, tools, books, clothes, had a big sign on the side of it.
Bus?
Bus did. It said, "Daisy Church of God. If you're looking for a revival, call us." We pulled off next to this other sign up there that said, "A little out of the way, but a lot less to pay." There was this billboard there. Funny thing. Big billboard, brand new looking. Said, "Showroom furniture at whorehouse prices." So many standing there waving and hollering.
We all make mistakes.
That reminds me of another story. These guys I know, he got a ticket to run a stop sign. The state trooper pulled him over and gave him a ticket. He went to court to fight it. The judge asked the state trooper to tell his story. The state trooper stood up and said, "Your Honor, I was right there at the stop sign. This man drove right straight through, didn't stop, wrote me a ticket." That's the story. The judge asked the driver for his story. He stood up in his best preacher voice. He said, "As God is my witness, I did not run that stop sign." The judge looked over at the trooper and said, "He's got one more witness than you got."
Hey, I knew this old boy went, joined the Marine Corps Reserve. Listed his boot size as a 14B. I've got time.
We're rare.
I'm telling you, sure blessed. less man.
In place.
Well, anyway, the recruiter asked him if he'd be all right if he could wait till he could get him a pair of boots that fit. 3 years later, he gets honorably discharged. 50 years later, he goes to sign up on his Social Security. The lady there at the Social Security asked him if he'd ever saw any action, you know, so he'd get a bigger check. He said, ma'am, I couldn't even get a bigger pair of boots.
I know this fella that run for governor, state of Tennessee. He served as commissioner of conservation. He served on the board of TVA. He was elected as circuit court judge. And he served 5 terms in Congress. All before he retired. I knew that's coming. It's a shame that fella couldn't hold down a job.
We all do a lot of jobs, you know.
Sometimes you have to. Hey, I know this fella bought 100 dozen pairs of factory second socks to resell. Seems like not one of them was matched.
I heard about, I knew a fellow that bought a whole warehouse full of stuff to resell. They got the key, and they found out in the boxes, and anything in them along the front of the shelves. All the boxes in the back of the shelves was already
Empty.
That same fella set out to teach that bunch how an auction works. Seems like he sold a $10 bill when the bidding closed at $5. Who was teaching who?
I knew a fellow could sell anything. An electrician working in the store one day, the electrician had this brand new yellow ladder sitting there. He went to lunch and come back, his ladder was gone, since he had sold it during lunch.
Now, hang on, that fellow went and bought him a new ladder.
Hey, I heard a fella made a trade with a friend, 100 brand new record albums for this little Derringer gun. Yeah. Seems like every one of them records was exactly the same thing. Well, that's all right. That little Derringer didn't shoot nothing but blanks.
Lord have mercy. That's enough, all right? You fellas are gonna keep on, well, I have to write a book.
Well, we figured you would have to expel. All Liars Club adjourned. Break out the rock top.
New Hampshire. But that's just the surface. And I've been realizing how much it doesn't count. The second week of school, Mom got a flat tire on the way. So she got out to change it. Some total stranger stopped in and said to me, "Take care of that if she don't curve." Mom said sure. I wasn't so sure, so I just stood close with a smaller tire. But he really was just helping, being nice, being, well, here. Just last week, we were at Dollar General. Mom takes forever in the store. So, I went outside with my bag. I was standing there, waiting. Started to rain a little. I was standing there, and a lady pulled up to see if I needed a ride. I think I'm used to that by now, or at least learned how to stand in the rain, parking lot. Nobody stops out with a flat tire in New Hampshire or offers you a ride unless it's someone you definitely do not want to accept a ride from. I was wrong, but I was right too. I don't belong. I don't know where Blue Taylor's farm used to be, or how to turn where their old corner store was, or why it matters which cemetery your family's buried in. That's okay. I'm staying. Someday I'll marry someone who can tell me where Blue Taylor's farm used to be. Someday we'll have kids who are born here. They'll belong, and I'll be proud they do.
Perhaps it's just in my blood from the moment I was born, destined to be what my father had been before me. Or perhaps what they say is true, and children learn what they live, and living with my father made me what I am. Perhaps it's simply my own fault, giving in to the joys of knowing others' fears, and drinking in the smell of their blood like a newly poured beer. Who cares, really? In the end, I died the way I lived, bleeding from a gunshot wound, too busy to go for help, too tired to care. I thought of her as the smell I'd always relished soaked into the ground around me. I thought of the brand I'd made across her face, symbol of how she both loved and feared me. She could have done much better than me. If I'd ever let her loose, she would have known that long before our moment in the street.
The smell of death was on him, and we knew it. A although we didn't know why. It lingered in the house when he was gone. Sometimes for months when we still listened, waiting for his long steps on the porch. They returned with him, so strong he nearly choked us, cowering in our beds, hoping he wouldn't notice. Once, Mother left, but he brought her back, her cheeks scarred by the random finding. And then she disappeared. 3 weeks he searched, leaving us at Grand's, hoping she was safe, hoping not to hear his long steps again. The hoping ended midnight news that he was dead. Shot in the face just blocks from home in our small 5-town paper bed. Smaller than I remembered in the coffin. I leaned in close, making certain. It was weeks more before Mother returned, without apology or explanation. I finally asked her, has she regrets or guilt? No, she said without a single tear. I wasn't needed, only his mother misses him. I never liked her anyway. It seems fair she buried what she raised.
I thought I would give anything to escape the coal dust in the grave. He was a Halverston, handsome, dangerous. From Maynard Falls, far from the rumble of the mountain, the coal mines from up the side of the mountain. My family hated him, and that seemed to be a good sign. 20 years, 4 children later, I knew I was wrong. We moved hundreds of times, always in the middle of the night, always without warning, always taking only what fit in a brown paper bag. I never worked, couldn't drive. I never left the house without him. I ran once, but he found me. You're far too pretty, Helen. Such a pretty mouth, he crooned, as he etched my face from cheek to the corner of my mouth with a shard of neon glass. And so I waited, growing more silent, taken in the irony, avoiding the children's eyes. There are only 2 reasons to stay married to a mean man. I left the morning that both reasons were gone. He'd never hurt the children, and so I waited for the newspaper to say I could return. Perhaps the children knew. Perhaps it didn't matter. They were free, and I had given everything to escape the coal dust and the grave that lives in me.
You ever notice how many words mean nothing? Some people spend their whole lives talking, and when they're gone, the only thing you remember is the blessed silence. My words are few, so I make them count. I never told my boys what they should do. I never answered my girls when they would ask. I didn't have to. They all knew why. Raise your children right. They'll watch what you do and they'll learn what you are. And if the result displeases you, well, the answer's right there. Don't ever remember what you said. Don't ever forget what you are. Everything you did taught them that.
The blood of the Cherokee sings in me, louder than any man can tame, not even a Halverston. The wisdom of the seasons guide my days. When and what to plant, when and what to water, and when and what to harvest. People spend their energy on things of no value. Sometimes that means family. Sometimes a child can no longer be born. Sometimes a son must be left to harvest of his deeds. My heart thrives in the darkness of the earth. My spirit longs for the damp green spring. My garden will know when summer brings the spirit. My son will grow again in an autumn harvest, worthy of reaping without regret. Now I water his children. I plant hopes and dreams they will harvest long after I have gone to be gone. The wisdom of the seasons guide my days. Neither earth nor charity have uses for regret.
I'm a mail carrier. I have been for over 30 years now. My route winds 93 miles up over the ridges and through the hollers of this mountain. Most days it's a great job. I know people that almost all of the 642 boxes on my route. Some days, if the weather's bad, it's pouring rain, or my car breaks down, then it's not such a great job. But those are the days that I'm thankful to know people. My place is on the route too. I stop there for lunch. I make myself a sandwich, grab some cookies and a glass of milk and take it with me in the car. And most mail carriers will say I'm crazy, but December's my favorite month. The weather can be bad, packages are heavy, packages are stacked too high to see out the rear window. The work hours are longer than the daylight, and nobody likes that. But the letters without stamps are wild of December. You know, the ones written to the North Pole. I answer every one. No promises, just a letter. Sometimes they make me shake my head. Santa, all I want is a MacBook Pro, an iPhone case, a pair of white Converse sneakers, a pair of tan Uggs, a pair of new cowboy boots, a leather school bag, GoPro exercise clothes, a bike. Really? That's all? And then there are the ones that ask for something for everyone in the family, but nothing for themselves. Dear Santa, please bring my sister a cat, my dad a dog, and my mom a snowball. Thank you, Jesus. Now, can I not just give that kid the new cowboy boots instead? This last year, I got one that read, Dear Santa, Merry Christmas. Please give my packages to the ones that lost their homes in the fire. I love you, Santa, from Tammy. Letters like that give me hope. Then there are the letters that I wish I hadn't read. Santa, please bring me a boyfriend and lots of sexy new underwear. From Karen. Now, that's a version of Santa that I never knew as a kid. Sometimes they just make me laugh. Dear fat man, you're not real, signed Michael. So why are you writing, Michael? Dear Santa, I'm Jewish. I used to think you were an elected official. Turns out you're not. I guess that's cool. P.S. Can you really pay for my college tuition? Sincerely, Ari. Now sometimes I answer the letters with an extra package. I know I shouldn't, but dear Santa, all I want for Christmas is a pair of flannel sheets. Our house is really cold. If that's too much to ask for, I'll understand. Thank you, Joey. Now, what would you do with a letter like that? A pair of flannel sheets helps me to handle the letters I can't fix. Dear Santa, even though I know you really won't read this, all I want for Christmas is for my family to be together for one day and not argue. Just one good, happy day. Just me. Dear Santa, all I want for Christmas is for my dad to text me or talk to me in any way. Please and thank you. I'm just a mail carrier, but my route is personal. It's a place where I can make a difference. I figure it takes all of us looking out for one another, one pair of flannel sheets at a time.
Shut up in the mines at Cold Creek, we know that we will die. But if we trust in Jesus, to Him our souls will fly. Our lamps are burning dimly, our food is almost gone. Death's grasp is sure but awful, soon we'll be carried home. Goodbye, dear wife and children, may you be treated kind. For now our time has come to die, shut up in Cold Creek mine. Dear friends, you should take warning and listen to what we say. You're in the world of sunshine, that's where you ought to stay. Hey, boss fellers.
I spent 72 years underground mining coal. People tell me it was a hard life, but I lost both parents before the age of 5. So I guess that changes your sense of what hard means. Safety in the mines is hard. Accidents are hard on the living left behind, I can tell you that firsthand. I led the rescue that pulled 184 bodies from the Praterville mine in 1902. And it wasn't my only brush with that kind of tragedy. I was in Sunday school, 12 years of age, when the news came that President Lincoln had been assassinated. That was a hard time. The war, the mines closing. Miners would bet a gallon of beer and set their sons to fighting. Most boys got to keep a few pennies when they won. My stepfather kept his pennies. He kept my wages too. He started me off in the mines the year I turned 8. I fought to live. I fought for safety in the mines. I fought for my family. I never ran from a fight, and I never started one either. Spent almost 40 years as General Superintendent of Mining for the East Tennessee and Proctor Coal Companies. I faced strikes and scabs, pistols and dynamite, men who died and men who tried to kill me. When pushed, I'd rather settle things with a bare-knuckle fight. I recollect 21 such fights, each and every other feller in the hospital. I never held a grudge. I gave a man his job back if he asked for it. Keep serene and keep digging, that was my approach. Works in the mines and it works in life. If you get lazy, you lose. Give up, you lose. Quit, you lose. Plant your feet on the granite of your principles and never forsake them. I never swore and I didn't work with those who did. I was never drunk in my life. I paid my debts, I kept my word, and provided for my family. I was born poor and uneducated, and I spent my life working to change that. Learned about mining the last day I was in a mine. And to be learning about life as I draw my last breath. Have you heard about the new science of the cosmic ray? It's a powerful and mysterious thing. I hope I live long enough to know what the scientists figure out. After 72 years underground mining, the sky is a beautiful sight. Clouds by day, stars by night, endless mystery and beauty all around us. No, now that life's rushing hurries behind me, looking back, I wouldn't call my life hard. The memories that remain the strongest are the pleasant ones. If life feels hard, figure out why and correct it. Keep serene and keep digging.
My husband was so much more than he let on. He was a hard worker and a gentle soul. Oh, he'd fuss that I'm saying so, but true gentleness requires great strength. And don't you let anyone tell you otherwise. My private husband served as mayor of Jellicoe for 2 terms and was asked to name their school board. Why he lost an election he didn't even campaign in by only 7 votes. He could slam a pick into anthracite coal faster than men half his age and knew the name of every flower around the house. His fists were tough enough to settle every fight, and delicate enough to play the piano better than I could do. He endured every hardship the elements threw his way, and yet spoke most often of the scent of the warm earth after the rain, or of honeysuckle in the spring, or of my perfume. He only went to church to please me, and to hear the music. And yet, he never swore, never drank, never spoke ill of another. He rushed to settle conflicts that others ran from, but taught our sons to keep serene to get the most out of life. He had only a few months of formal education, and retired from the coal mines to study astronomy and the movements in the heavens. He had no parents to love and guide him, and yet grew to be a loving father and wonderful provider to our 7 children. Why tell you this? Well, seems to me that most often manhood is measured by things that do not make a man at all. A man is more than quick fists, broad shoulders, and brute strength. A man is a whole person, and a good man is brave and kind, strong and loving, a fierce defender, and a gentle soul. I was blessed to marry a good man.
It seems she ended up in Johnson Cemetery. It's a poor excuse for a place that should be filled with pennies. A hard, scrabble, rocky patch on the side of a rural road in Hamilton. There are a bunch of old fieldstones, broken, scattered, illegible after all these years. There's a group of graves that have Johnson in bold letters all together. Headstones matched and tinted. From time to time, I see the younger Johnsons visiting these graves. I know because I own this land now. And then there's Lucy, all alone, off to the side. Nobody visits her grave. Her headstone is unlike any of the others. A headstone that is not illegible. A headstone that reads, Lucy, wife of T.M. Riggs, July 7, 1863 to March 18, 1905. Not my will, but thy will be done. What does that mean, do you think? If you read it literally, she didn't want to go. That makes sense. She was only 41. So, did the Almighty call her home? Or was it her husband's home? Maybe he caused her death. Maybe she got sick and died so far from home that she couldn't be buried in the family cemetery. Maybe she was born a slave and had nobody here except her husband. Maybe her grave was moved when the TVA flooded the bottom land to create more slaves. That's my problem. I don't know who she is, how she died, or anything except she is buried on my land. And that bothers me. Not the cemetery, understand. That's fine. I kind of like it, as a matter of fact. I've always found cemeteries to be restful, peaceful places. And when I go, I'm going to be rolled out the back door to join them. But nobody visits her. And I feel responsible. I have searched every record and file that I can find, and there is no mention of Lucy Riggs, or T.M. Riggs for that matter. I find myself standing by her stone, making up stories. I imagine Lucy in school, Lucy feeding the birds, Lucy braiding hair with her sister, and Lucy complaining about her husband's snoring. Yesterday, I mended her stone. I cleaned her grave, and I planted some marigolds. We all die. If we're lucky, we grow old first. But as we get older, we realize what we leave behind. The people who have helped us, the people we have helped, the difference that we have made in our little corner of the world, the ways we want to be remembered. Somehow, along the way, every life makes a difference. Every life deserves to be remembered. I hope Lucy likes marigolds. I hope Lucy feels remembered.
am Walking Wolf, a memory keeper, who holds a lantern on the rights and wrongs of the past. I am Walking Wolf of the Wolf Clan, of the Cherokee Nation, of the mountain to which I belong. I have walked the high trail in the dark and climbed out on a pinnacle before dawn to watch Mother Earth, Etsi, Elatsiye, stretched away under the vast pale horizon, waiting for old man sun to lift the covers off another morning. And I have stood there, naked in my heart, and known what is important and what is not. Earth and sun, wind and water, spirit, all who live, and the spirit who made us all. These are important. They are your companions when you play, get lost, feel misunderstood, or cannot breathe with joy. They are with you in the march of thunder, in the hurry of wind, and in the babble of creeks. Always there, always with you, holding you together with all spirit creatures. And care not if you're old or strong, man or woman, white, red, black or brown. They care not by which word you name them, for these are unimportant. False divisions are injustice, a diseased vine that creeps from one generation to the next. We who know the names by which we call all things are called to honor the all to which we belong. To harm any harms us all, and all will pay. I am Walking Wolf, a memory keeper, who holds a lantern to light a path to the future, where all creatures walk together with respect in a space between the unimportant things that divide us.
My name is Hazel Whit-Thistle McRobbins. Yep, it's a mouthful, I know. But bitten for a while, trying to do less fun than enter. Left my pa and 9 brothers when the war broke out. Had enough of living under a man's thumb, even a well pension. Always gone where I had in mind to. Been able-bodied enough to manage. Couldn't be some old maid Annie hanging around helping with the babies in the wash. No, I tended cattle, hunted bear, gathered edibles in the woods, split firewood, plowed a furrow, shot a rifle, better than any pair of breeches. Weren't no effort with my mouse schooling. I've observed that men, especially whites, always believe book learning belonged to men. But I listen to Paul with the voice, and I can read and decipher better than any of them. Read every word of the good book more than once, but I got no use for church. You ever notice how religion's all about how men see matters? Not a chapter or a verse written by a woman. Maybe because they had no book learning. But then I'll ask you why that's so. But it appears to me religion lays a heap of the world's problems at the feet of women, when in fact the only women in the Bible were servants. Them, secure, 10-year-old young, them that be the cause of all men's woes. I figure back when men were writing it, they just lost track of the God that made us all. Men and women were different, sure, but equal in separate ways. Religion's being used to tell folks what to do, especially women. Instead of letting them figure it out for themselves. I'm always puzzled how folk gets a narrow vent when women would riddle over matters outside the house. You ever notice how that makes folks want to scold us back into doing instead of thinking? I don't mean just men, although they are the scaredest when we women think. I was out that some folk are like critters. Happiest when they don't have to reason. But a body can only ride so far before coming across a choice you have to make alone. Then what? If you have no comfort with thinking for yourself.
I once was asked, was I an Indian or a white man? I was born to the Cherokee Nation, the trail of tears took that away, and I knew change before I could even speak. The white family raised me, gave me a home and education, but the man that I'd called father died, and I learned that I was different, and knew change once again. I wondered then, seeking for the people of my birth, I found Walking Wood, Solid, Mother Earth, Etsy, and the Mountain Spirit. But still I did not belong, and change came once again. I married, lost, and married again. A house of life and love, 12 children all, and grandyoungins who brought me joy. But then the consumption came, and I went to the cabin, alone, to die and deny those that I loved. And so change began anew. Change is the only constant for us all. Change makes us strong and wise and bigger than when we began. To hide from it is to huddle in the dark, damp narrows of your mind, the fear to follow the light, too frightened or lazy to deal with the different change. I have lived two lives, choosing between the people who birthed me and the people who gave me a second chance. I have never shirked standing apart or standing alone, and I've asked for nothing but respect. I once was asked, was I an Indian or a white man? Must I be one or the other? Only if you are huddled in the dark, deep narrows of your mind, too frightened or lazy to change.
I told Steve I wanted to be married properly. So we went to the courthouse in Tazewell where the clerk marked our paper interracial marriage. But Steve disagreed. He made him set that paper right. So we said our vows and we were married. And as the Cherokees say, that day, Steve's soul came into the very center of my being, never to leave. And I began to ponder the difference and what that might mean. Years passed, lifetimes almost, until the day our youngest was called half-breed, right outside the very doors of our church, while inside the preacher shouted, "Man is made in the image of God." He didn't hear the boys outside. Well, I did, and I got riled, and I stood up. "Brother, I thank you for bringing us the gospel, and I'd be the last to interfere in the spreading of the Word of God. But I've fought bears and outlaws alike, so you can rest assured I ain't as scared to speak my mind. Now, I got no claim to the actual reading of the Bible on account of I can't read, but I've been hearing the Scripture read all of my life. So I'd allow us to have those plenty of messages to preach on about being made in the image of God. Now I recollect that loving thy neighbor, it don't make ne'er mention about what the color of skin ought to be, or about being or not being a full blood. You think that being a full blood means being an Indian, don't you? Full bloods come in every skin color. There are folks that hang their blood ties around their outlook and can't see or feel past it to anybody else. I say, them that are big enough to walk outside of their own nature are to be respected by the rest of us. Because, and this is for all God-fearing, full-blood white folk, because the Bible says God Himself stepped outside of His own nature and became Christ on earth. God cares about the different. God made us differ on purpose, I suppose, so as to stretch our horizons, so as to learn us tolerance. Bible says we're made in the image of God. And looking around here right now, I vow God must have plenty of differ Himself. So you ought to preach about the wrong of a man looking for another he can lift his leg on account of he's different. Scripture says we're all God's youngins. All. It ain't a choice. It's all.
I'm a mom, and I'm learning to quilt in my spare time. Well, that's the 5 minutes before I fall asleep over the quilting book I'm reading now. I used to say I'm just a mom, but I stopped doing that. No one really talked about being a mom as a job when I was growing up. The truth is, my mom was pretty bad at it. But really, who would volunteer for this job if she understood what she was taking on? I mean, I work 24 hours a day. I listen in my sleep. I'm on call in the shower. I leave the bathroom door open when and I get paid nothing. Not one penny. I've been thinking a lot about this job lately and worrying about my skills. Maybe it's the quilt book, but last night I dreamed that my kids were cut out of plain canvas. And every time I spoke to them, a different colored patch just appeared somewhere. I yelled at Maria, and her foot turned to red and black stripes. I hugged Thomas and watched as his left shoulder sprouted yellow and orange flowers. Today, I can't shake that dream. That's weird, right? And it's occurred to me that I'm not the only one who's going to add those patches to their lives. Every relative, neighbor, teacher, store clerk, friend, and co-worker for the rest of their lives is going to add a patch of color and pattern. And my little ones will add patches of color and pattern to every life they touch, too. I just hope I'm strong enough to show them what this really means. It's a big, huge, colorful patchwork quilt made up of every moment that creates every one of us, all bound together on the blank canvas where our lives began, and stretching into the future, we all create together, like a giant quilted frame of life stitched together. Bound, well, I hope, by love. I'd like to see that from a bird's eye view someday. You know, just flying over the crazy quilt of colors and patterns that we all make together. I wonder what we all look like stitched together. Maybe I'll dream about that tonight. Maybe I'm crazy, or I just need some sleep.
right here by our lighting designer, who also has postcards of them available in the lobby, Peter Casera. Thank you so much for coming. Spread the word. We still have some seats available. Good night.